Good evening, good evening, good evening. Alright. Just a little bedtime message here. We're going to go ahead and stick with the book from this morning. See what, is it Luce and Gareth? Yes. So we got Lucia and Gareth. We get a number and just a little quick reading on it to see what pops up, what's going on. I've been having some interesting conversations today. Definitely some interesting things. There's another character that I was reading earlier. Ulium is one of the werewolves as well. Where he's, his story is he was tricked by a succubus when he was little, and then he ends up pairing, his mate ends up being a succubus. And he has to overcome all his childhood traumas from the one that he dealt with when he was younger and reconcile. A lot of them deal with that too in this series. There's one that falls in love with a vampire even though he hates vampires. Things like that, right? Overcoming programmed hate, right? And overcoming toxic programming. But I thought it was weird because Will's whole thing is... he's a twin. It's him and his brother, and they call him Hot and Hotter, and because he's all broken and twisted. I should have grabbed that one anyway. But anyway, maybe I'll do McReeve in the morning. But because he's so broken and twisted, he only sleeps with one. He'll only sleep with the girl once. Is his whole thing, and he would just rather be alone. No real connections. But of course, in the book as well, he ends up getting used just as much because he becomes like, for like the nymphs and the other fit Lorians of female Lorians, he's like a bucket list thing. Like, oh, if you get a chance, go with this dude, right? You only get once, but it's worth it. Da, 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 da. Weird shit. People are weird. People are weird, man. Totally crazy. Alright. Put some of these up. Not bad. Just came out here random tonight. Felt like saying goodnight. There we go. Interesting. That card got stuck on the bottom of the wrong deck here. I feel like somebody just touched me. Alright. Alright, let's get a number to go for. Read that page and we'll do a quick little mini reading. Alright. Let's switch this up a little bit. That's how we'll do it. We'll do 3D, 40, 5D deal, and then we'll take the numbers off the bottom there. You stay out the way for a second. There we go. I hope y'all are having a good night. Been pretty calm around here. The regular end of winter school grinds, whatnot, right? Gonna get ready to set up and do a little Valentine's video for the other channel. We're going to be doing Love's Guiding Light at the silver cord. always say too, that spell is not designed. You're not supposed to cast it on a specific person. It's supposed to be opening you up to your tribe, your connections, things of that nature. It's not supposed to be you're not supposed to cast at specific people, man. You're just not. People be breaking them rules, man. Ooh. About to get intense around here. Reverse, reverse, reverse. All right. The only thing that's upright down here at the bottom, King of Wands, is this Two of Swords. That's why I don't want to read page. Well, you know what? Screw it. What's on page 2? All right. Lucia struggled for consciousness, labored to speak. Don't hurt her, please. It's my fault, my fault. But her words were drowned out by the rumbling boom. This hole was carved into the heights of the God's Bellows Mountain, shaken continuously by thunder. Shakti asked Rain, why bring her here? Because you're both neighbor and nemesis to the ones who did this. Had interest flickered in the goddess's eyes? The broken and bloody one? Hey. Canting her head at Rain in a praising way, Shakti said, you are not even old enough to be a true immortal yet. For one so powerless and insignificant, you dare much, little Valkyrie. For Lucia, I dare this and more, Rain answered proudly. Best be forewarned. Rain, Lucia gasped. The girl had lost her mind. What? She stomped her foot. What did I say? Instead of smiting Rain, the goddess impatiently gestured her hands towards the legendary Scythians, and they reowned their arches, all the females who underwent the grueling training rituals to serve the goddess. Take the glowing one down the mountain and make sure she does not remember her way back. And when Rain charged towards her, Lucia cried, Nay, Rain, leave me. The Scythians snagged Rain around her waist and forcing her out as she flailed and shrieked and biting at them. Lucia heard one of them say, Ow, you little ratling, and then they were gone. Read the second page. Scythy regarded Lucia's battered face impassively. You worry for her when she has been spared, and you, however, will not last the hour. I know, Lucia whispered, unless you help me. She caught Scythy's gaze, and as she pleaded, a mistake to look directly upon a great and terrible goddess, meeting her fathomless eyes brought on the sorrow and fear of all her prey over the ages. It sank over Lucia like a bitter frost. Please, When Lucia held up her crimson-stained hand in supplication, the wound across her torso she had been holding welled with blood flowing over her sides. A fountain of sticky warmth coated the altar beneath her, surrounding her and bathing her body, but it quickly cooled to the chill of the stone. Each drop lost left her shuddering harder, and even desperate, the pain of her injuries maddened her. You made your decision, Valkyrie, the goddess said in answer, and you reaped what you sowed when you disobeyed those you were born to obey. Why should I help you? Because I've only lived 16 years, Lucia thought, but she knew she wouldn't sway Cassie, a timeless being who could scarcely comprehend death or youth. Because I'll do whatever you ask of me, Lucia said at last, the shuddering getting worse, and the altar beneath her was so cold. Pay any price. If I say you, I would impart this essence upon you, a being like you, would you bear my mark or of favor and be tied to the bow forever? Scotty said, strolling to the opening overlooking her mountain, guarded by miles of deadly woods that swallowed unwarily travelers. Lucy and Rain are Valkyries, which are born of have three parents. They are born of a woman who dies in battle. The gods, Freya and Odin, take her, bring her to Valhalla, and she shows up in Valhalla pregnant, gives birth to a Valkyrie, right? That's how the Valkyries are born. And they're supposed to stay in Valhalla until they reach their immortality at like 23 or whatever. These two little pains in the asses, they escape Valhalla when they're like 16. Rain goes off at chasing one guy. Lucia is really the reason that they left, and it's because she was tricked, kind of like in a Hades type thing, only this person was ended up being really, really nasty, tricked into leaving heaven, and then ended up being like the sacrificial thing in this marriage to this guy. And then, this whole gross part where, she almost dies, right? Now on the 3D, I'm getting like this very, very stuck energy, right? We got the 5 of Wands reversed and a Death Joker. We got indecision. We got the 10 of Cups reversed, and we got the 4 of Cups reversed. That was all about what she had overcome, right? But now this is showing up more of a masculine energy because, like I said, the King of Wands came out here, right? And isn't that Scarlett O'Hara, frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn, Rhett Butler look walking off there, right? I picked up that energy in the reading earlier this morning, too. It's just a lot of... I just got a lot of fronting on the 3D. Just a lot of fronting. A lot of indecision. A lot of indecision being displayed as strength. I see it, but indecision. I'm not going to engage in anything because if I engage in anything, it's going to cause conflict. I'm going to present that I'm 10 of Cups, fine, happy. I'm going to pretend that I'm not toxically overindulging in anything. I don't have any bad thoughts or bad behaviors or anything else like that. I'm totally in control of myself. Meanwhile, it's just a dude sitting up against a tree all day not doing shit, right? I'm dead inside, but it's reversed. So you're not really dead inside. You're just indecisive as fuck. You just don't want to make a decision. What? Oh, well, making a decision is choosing a timeline. Choosing a timeline means that you have to actually put a little faith and foresight and all that good shit into the timeline. And there's a fear. You don't want to do that. Why? Oh, well, what if it doesn't work out? Well, what if it doesn't? Now that's how it's presenting on the 3D, and I told you, things present on the 3D a little bit differently, right? That's where everybody has their own 3D toxic programming bullshit, right? Bullshit. When you do your projecting, when you do your whole act, it's for the 3D, right? What's going on the 4D? Got a lot of feminine energy on the 4D for sure, right? There's a lot of there's a lot of protecting of the energy, a lot of bubbling, right? Right? In the book, Lucia is about to be asked if she'll be chaste and give up men and things of that nature. And then this is a different type, right? This is like more of a self-preservation, a protecting of one's energy and not allowing others to affect one's energy, right? Definitely trying to find that genuine balance, see a true reflection of self, right? Definitely a lot of self-love generating here. And that self-love is attracting in that Knight of Swords, right? That curious, that I always get opinionated with this person, right? This is an intellectual person. The King of Swords, the Queen of Swords, the Knight of Swords, all of them are very much the thinkers of the group, right? They're always thinking of stuff, right? It's definitely giving off a Captain Saberho type of vibe or a coming for you type of vibe where he's running towards his motorcycle. He's following that crow, right? He's definitely chasing something, right? Right? You get that sun energy, that connecting back to the cosmos energy going on, right? I almost feel like it's like a trying to catch up. Right? You get this one person, what? I'm centering out. I'm creating my shields. I'm bubbling out. I'm finding genuine balance, genuine love with myself. I'm attracting in those who are supposed to be within my circle, right? And we are moving back into the collective sun energy. Very nice. What's the 5D have to say? The 5D says, watch out for people who are full of fucking shit. Be mindful of people who are full of shit, right? Lucia was tricked out of Valhalla, essentially heaven, the Summerland side of it, by someone who was painting an illusion, right? And the Seven of Swords for me is someone who just takes what their fair share, takes what they can get away with, things of that nature, right? And the reason you'll attract these type of people is because if they notice anything that's even close to the Ten of Pentacles, right? They're going to want to try to come after. This is going to be someone who doesn't want to work for it, but they want to come after your Ten of Pentacles anyway. I see a lot of victory. See, this is what I get. I get this person, these people here, right? They've got the Ten of Pentacles energy. Right? They've got that wealth, that establishment, that foundation for wanting to build energy. I mean, either side of this energy, you've got what? You got somebody who's very, very lazy, and you got someone who's a thief. You get laziness and a thief here. Right? Someone who doesn't... The Eight of Pentacles is also usually that, like, that you're reaping in what reaping in what you sow type of card, right? It's learning, it's gaining knowledge, but this is just a yucky energy that's around this one energy here. I do see, though, for this energy here, there is victory over the deceivers, over the people that are trying to work. I get a... Just with the 8 being reversed like that, I just get like someone who is smart about manipulating, right? They're very intelligent on manipulating, and you definitely got someone who's very deceitful, very lying, very, very takey. They take things. They could be kleptomaniac, right? Steal little things, even the stupid things like that. That type of energy going on, right? This kind of person will come over and steal your, if you leave money out on a counter or whatever, they're going to take it type deal, right? Yeah, I just got feeders, liars and feeders around this energy, or trying to be around this energy, trying to tap into this energy. Now, this is on the 5D, so this is people that, it doesn't necessarily mean like they're genuinely after your money, but they're definitely after the energy produced by this couple, right? I definitely see there is some victories here for a King of Cups, right? I get the victory lies in the hands of the King of Cups. And how he decides what to do with his cups. Right? Let's get a shadow real quick. Ooh. Calling the storm again. That is the same one from this morning, isn't it? Come on now. Are you just gonna... No numbers, no numbers, no numbers, all the way to 14. Yeah, power comes not from the inside, but from connection and integration to the greater whole. There is a time to find and release our power, like a spring that had been compressed to the point that it lost memory of motion and movement. Yet there is power still inside of it. Finding it is called empowerment. It starts from the belief in our power and our ability to cope and to fight and to endure and to overcome a challenge. However, too often we are encouraged to see empowerment as something that happens only within our psychological space. We are not necessarily islands. We can borrow the power of the world around us, the content, the environment, the expectations. We do not control the storm, but we can call it. To call the storm, we need not to fear it. This is what will make us strong. After the storm, there is always the sun, see? So if the sky has been gray for too long, it is not time to fear the storm, but to embrace it. It will grow and devour our chains and our jailers, and it will hurt us as well, but it will be healthier than just to stare at the chilly rain. We can restart only after we let ourselves in. You know, this is the conversation that I was just having too. It's a matter of, there is this program too, like, and now I was a big proponent of standing on your own, trying to make sure that you're independent and emotionally independent. You know, I'm a firm believer in that stuff too. I mean, as needy as I can freaking be at times, you know, because it is natural. We're pack animals. We just are. We're not designed to be alone per se, right? Lightning power. Damn. But there is a point where people, if you're habitually single for years and years and years, then you are not empowering being alone. You're not. No. You're alone because you're afraid if you let anybody in, then you're not powerful anymore. What? Oh, my whole claim to strength, my whole part of my identity has become, I'm strong because I can do it all by myself and I don't need nobody. Now that is a core part of my personality, of who I am. What? I don't need nobody. I can be meaningless, right? I could be meaningless. Gareth and them, all the werewolves, they have meaningless sex with nymphs and shit like that all the time. Succubus. They don't care, right? They don't care. Until they're with their real, until they find their real mates, they just run around having meaningless freaking relations, right? But it's all empty. That doesn't stop you from being alone. And it doesn't make you look strong. Lightning. Lightning power 89. 89, lightning, power. We see power all around us. It is in the mountains, the meadows, and the clouds. In fact, in every expression of nature. Yet there is more dramatic, yet blah, 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 blah. Yet there isn't a more dramatic display of nature's power than lightning. It electrifies and splits the atmosphere that when the heated air comes rushing together, we hear the thunder, the applause of the gods. Lightning sharpens our senses and triggers fear and awe. We see these forked beams of brilliant light jump from the sky, and our instinctual vigilance is triggered in anticipation of the roar that follows. We naturally seek shelter from the storm, or are grateful that we are already being sheltered. This is a demonstration of power of creation, yet another way to remind us that we are not in control of the natural world, and when we witness nature's power with open arms and minds, we see it neither as destructive or constructive. It simply is. The power available to you, the force of life itself, is neutral. It is neither inherently good nor bad. It is how we utilize it that will determine whether it is ultimately harmful. Of life-giving and congruent with the will of the spirit that pulses through you. What is required is awareness of your intention, your values, and your willingness to act on them under the particular circumstances of your inquiry. Although you may see yourself as using this power for good, do not allow yourself to get caught up in the duality of good and bad determining your decisions or actions. Though prayer or ceremony can tap into this spiritual force, and by paying close attention to the Spirit's prompting, your choice will ultimately be revealed to you, one that is beyond your typical perspective. From there you can continue to access this divine power that is a force driving the universe. Kind of like calling the storm and then letting the storms do what storms do. Now, Lusa tried to follow a fantasy and fell in love with an image displayed. See, now this being the broken, bloody one is kind of like a demonic thing from another realm. But when he projected onto onto the Valhalla realm, he projected as this handsome young man. Everything she dreamed of, right? But then it turns out that he was this horrible, horrible monster, right? He trapped her. But then there is success, right? In her entrapment, being freed, right? Not only brings Rain into her story, but it also brings her into the story where she finds the person she's meant to be with, right? Genuinely finds the person that she's meant to be with, right? But first she has to go through the entrapment and the escaping of it. That is what made her strong. Right? Should we get one more page? Need some way to get numbers. Alright, we got 157. Alright, I got 157 and then I got 3. So I'm going to do 157 and I'm going to read 3 pages. And that will be... No freaking way, dude. First page, chapter 20. Lord. Oh, man. I just know this is going to be a bad one. Alright, I'm going to be shutting it down after this and going to bed, alright? It is late for me. She froze, glaring up at him. When I get that bow back, McGreeve, I'm going to use it to kill you. What's new there? His gaze dropped to her lips. For the last year, you've been exploding things at me and trying to end me. I never tried to end you before, as evidenced by the fact that you're still alive. What about the log truck and the warehouse fire? Only a single flaming arrow plus New York's New Year's cachet of fireworks equaled a whistling and popping and screeching inferno that he had been directly in the middle of. She had fired he was chasing her, and she fired a flaming bow and arrow into a firework warehouse. He hadn't even brought up the Austrian incident. Rain, some shrieks, and an avalanche, and buried a very pissed off werewolf. And not to mention what you did to my quarters in Louisiana. She might have ordered some of her subjects to relocate all the horses from the stables into his rooms. And possibly she cut all his more costly belongings in half, removing 50% of them. What about your lies? Lucius snapped, saying that I wasn't your mate? He didn't address that. I've been patient with you, Lucia, forgiven any slights against me and my family. No more patience. I am a different man now than I was then. A darker and even more attractive man, or beast. Slights? If you wouldn't have been stalking me, luckily I did, so I could repeatedly save your pert ass. And yet I survived a previous millennium without your assistance. I could have taken you from Valhalla that night of the vampire attack, away from the threat. Instead, I stayed and saved your sisters' lives. I did this for you. She knew this. So I was a shade pissed that I made a sacrifice for you and you threw me over at the earliest opportunity. And there are a dozen more instances when I have saved you. Listen to you talking about all your good deeds. I've got a few of them to speak of where you're concerned. And in the last few weeks, your foes have been increasing in number. I swear it's like you believe your deeds are credits, and if you do enough or remind me enough, then you can buy me. No, buy you? Earn you. That's the likey in me. Could no turn it off if I tried. Deep down, I believe that if I show you I am a good protector and provider, you'll surrender to me. You'll want me in return. But I don't want you. I couldn't have made it clear over the last year that there's playing hard to get and then there's taking a frickin' hint. When you followed me, you brought all this upon yourself. They were toe to toe, breathing heavily, and she was uncaring of the consequences. Do not want me? His voice dropped low in a rumble. Ah, lass, do you really want me to make a liar out of you? He was about to kiss her, and God's helped her. She feared she wanted him to. A knock on the door from the outside of the cabin, and a male said, Dr. McReeve, interrupting her swan dive towards disaster. Scott mouthed, Dr. McReeve? With a wolfy grin for the first time, his eyes warmed. She wanted to die. That pleases me, Lucia. I didn't do it, she hissed. Nix did. Oh, of course. At the door, she called, yes? Charlie here, ma'am. I'm the deckhand. He sounded young, with a light Brazilian accent. I just wanted to tell you that the meet and greet starts now and the other docs are making their way down to the salon. McGreeve murmured, Tell me this isn't a research vessel. What of it? With a scheming look, he said, and you're pretending to be one of them? More knocking on the door. Dr. McGreeve, can you tell the Captain you're coming up? Or can I tell the captain you're coming up? Before she could stop him, McGreeve opened the door. Very cute. They're actually, if you had seen what's that new movie with The Rock, I think it's on the Disney Channel. They're in the jungle trying to find a hidden city. So yeah, they're on a research vessel. Very cute. Very cute. Alright, y'all. That's all I got for tonight. Blessed be all those who walk these weird winding paths with me. I love y'all, and I'm going to catch you later.